pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the Vietnam Veterans News Podcast. News of interest about Vietnam veterans from a Vietnam veteran. Now, here's your host, Mac Payne.
This is Mac Payne here with episode 1862 of the Vietnam Veteran News Podcast. News about the Vietnam War and the brave veterans who served there, as told to you by yours truly, a Vietnam veteran. In this episode, I'm going to pass on some news that affects the Blue Water Navy Vietnam veterans. I'm doing that because I got attached to that group of veterans. A few years ago, I was asked to put this podcast to work to help the Blue Water Navy Vietnam veterans achieve equity in Agent Orange benefits. It was a weird and shameful situation. Back in the early 2000s, the VA issued a boots-on-the-ground policy when it came to being eligible for Agent Orange benefits, meaning the only veterans who could receive those benefits were those who actually put their feet on the ground in the country of South Vietnam. With a stroke of the pen, tens of thousands of Blue Water Navy Vietnam veterans were excluded from receiving any benefits. It was a shameful event for that group of Vietnam veterans. Finally, after years of work, the Blue Water Navy Vietnam Veterans Act of 2019 was passed. Things looked a little better, but we're still not out of the woods. I remember working with Mr. John Wells, who was leading the effort to rectify this situation. He is the executive director of the Military Veterans Advocacy Group out in Slidell, Louisiana. I remember talking with him about this problem, and he said the biggest problem the Blue Water Navy Vietnam veterans had was when they applied for benefits and compensation due to injuries caused by exposure to Agent Orange, they ran into the problem of they had to prove where their ship was. It had to be in certain areas. Can you imagine going back 50 years to look up some ship logs to find out exactly where the ship was that you were serving on? It was a tremendous roadblock to these veterans trying to get the benefits. In this episode, I have good news I'm going to pass on. Many of you may already know about this development, but if there's one person out there that does not know it, I want them to know this so that they will be better able to get the benefits they deserve. The Navy and the VA have come up with a way to digitize all those ship logs, so you can easily access the information without having to go dig into the archives and look up records that are 50 years old. It's a wonderful thing. I know if I was attempting to make a claim and they said I have to prove where the ship was during the Vietnam War that I was serving on, you'd have to say, well, I guess I'm going to have to go find the ship logs wherever they are. All that is over now. It's all digitized. And it's going to be much easier to find that information when claims are being placed. I'm going to share a blog post that describes this new development with you that tells all about it and explains it a whole lot better than I can. Being a product of the Southern school system and a graduate of the University of Florida, the VA and the NARA can explain it a whole lot better than I can. Let's take a look at what they say. Title of this blog post is VA's Collaboration with NARA Digitizes Vietnam-Era Deck Logs. That should be great news for anybody who served in the Blue Water Navy during the Vietnam War. Let's take a look at this report. Dateline, Washington, D.C. The Blue Water Navy Vietnam Veterans Act of 2019 gave the VA an opportunity to consider new and previously submitted Blue Water Navy claims. Now, thanks to collaboration with the National Archives and Records Administration, better known as just plain old NARA, N-A-R-A, and the VA. VA and NARA are helping to determine ship locations and to digitize more than 1,800 vessels' deck logs. Ah, yes, the magic of computers. They can do a lot of good things for us. Continuing. The data contained in these ship deck logs is critical in determining qualifying ship locations in accordance with the law. For the first time, VA will have each of these ships mapped with precision, providing a comprehensive view of their locations. VA estimates that there are between 42,000 and 560,000 Vietnam-era veterans who may be considered Blue Water Navy veterans. The law also extends benefits to survivors and dependents of those veterans with confirmed service and whose claims would have been granted as a result of the new law. Note here that they mention to the survivors and dependents, because not only were the veterans affected, but many times their families also picked up these diseases, and that includes descendants. In some cases, grandchildren of Vietnam veterans have these diseases, so they need to be taken care of also. Thank goodness this law includes the dependents. Continuing. What Vietnam veterans need to know. NARA's and VA's collaboration has already assisted in granting more than 22,524 claims since January the 1st, 2020. That means it's working. The effort digitized more than 29 million images from U.S. Navy and Coast Guard deck logs. It has also provided data, such as a ship name, date, and coordinates to feed an internal claims-related technical proceeding system that identifies the vessels that may have traveled within the offshore waters of the Republic of Vietnam. This proactive approach ensures that rating veteran service representatives have the evidence needed to render a decision the first time a case is reviewed. This effort has resulted in faster service for veterans and reduced the need for physical handling of archival records, which preserves our nation's historical documents. NARA is in the process of redacting the images to make them publicly accessible on the National Archives website. How to file a claim. This is important. VA works with veteran service organizations, VSOs, and other partners to ensure veterans and survivors are aware of the changes and know how to determine eligibility for disability compensation or dependency and indemnity compensation, better known as DIC, when filing a claim. If veterans, survivors, or dependents have previously filed and were denied a claim, they can file a supplemental claim. The VA encourages veterans to work with an approved claims representative, or VSO, to determine if they qualify. To learn more, please visit benefits.va.gov/benefits/Blue Water Navy ASP. Don't worry about writing that URL down. It will definitely be over at the podcast website, VietnamVeteranNews.com, in episode 1862. I highly encourage anyone in the Blue Water Navy who suspect they may be affected by exposure to Agent Orange. Go to the website, get with the VA, get checked out. If necessary, make a claim utilizing this new service where they have digitized all those deck logs. I'll bet John Wells is glad to hear about this development. It's going to make life a lot easier for many Blue Water Navy Vietnam veterans. That's good news. I'm glad to hear it. If you are affected in any way by this information, I encourage you to make use of it. We went to serve our nation in war over there in Vietnam. Many who were serving over there were in the Navy, and many of those were in what they call the Blue Water Navy. As a result of that service, many of those Blue Water Navy Vietnam veterans are sick. Their families are sick. Their descendants are sick due to exposure. The country owes them an obligation. They were serving their country, and in the process of doing that, they got sick because of something the country did. That is, they made the decision to use that super weed killer, Agent Orange and Agent Blue and all the rest of them. And because of that, they definitely owe these veterans an obligation to help them. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. This is Mac Payne closing out episode 1862 of the Vietnam Veteran News Podcast. Thank you so much for coming to listen to these programs. You are cordially invited to return again soon and often to listen to more that will be coming your way on this podcast, the Vietnam Veteran News.
How about that? Ain't that a mess?